No news last week because I was welcoming my child into the world. What up, viewers? What up, what up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, November 19th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. We had a lot of big surprises this week, so let's jump right in. Halo announced Halo had its 20th anniversary this week, and rumors started last week that we were going to get some information around Infinite and the multiplayer. But throughout the entire 40-minute showcase, they talked about a TV show, a Halo TV show, which we got a trailer for, which is pretty cool. They talked about an Xbox documentary, 6-part documentary, which was pretty cool. And then we did get Halo Infinite multiplayer beta is available now for everybody with Xbox Game Pass on PC and Xbox. So for anybody wanting to jump in and shoot and mess around and play Halo, it's been quite some time. It should be a fun time. But yeah, the rumors were true, and we got to play Halo this week. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's still a pretty big bummer that Halo will not have. We won't have the multiplayer co-op campaign until I think we saw this week that it won't be until May of next year at the earliest. So we still have a long ways to wait for that, but we can still hop in and play multiplayer with our friends now. So looking forward to jumping in with that to get some of those multi kills in like we always did back when in the old Halo days. So looking forward to that. Riot also did another Riot Forge showcase this week, which had a couple big surprises. The first game that they talked about was Song of Nunu, which looked like an open world kind of icy adventure game with Nunu and Willem, the giant Yeti creature. So looking forward to seeing what that game's all about. They also had a rhythm game called Hextech Mayhem. Looked pretty fun if you're into that. It looked like it. Hopefully it's on mobile because it definitely looked like a good game that would be fun to play on mobile. We also got more details on Convergence, which we hadn't seen in quite some times. I think at the Game Awards in like 2019 was the last time we had heard about Convergence. So this is going to be like an action platformer game, again, with another of the League of Legends characters. So it seems like they're really hopping onto this like League expanded universe, especially with the success of Arcane. So looking forward to seeing more that's coming out there. And the game that got the most coverage and also got a surprise release was The Ruined King, which comes from Airship Syndicate, which is the studio behind Battle Chasers Nightwear, something like that. But it's a kind of a turn-based RPG game where you play one of like 5 or 6 different characters, and you're trying to kind of JRPG your way through the story. It looks really cool. The art looks really good for it. I'm familiar with Airship Syndicate and the Battle Chaser games, so I'm familiar with that kind of style of play, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Ruined King. So I can potentially play this sometime, in the holiday period. So looking forward to playing that as well. Also, big surprise, and something that was slightly rumored, Multiversus is WB's attempt at making a Smash Bros-like game. So it's a platform brawler, whatever you want to call it, and it features all of the characters that you know and love from the WB properties. So they got DC characters like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, and Harley Quinn. They had Game of Thrones characters with Arya Stark. They had Looney Tunes characters with Bugs Bunny. They had Finn and Jake from Adventure Time. They also had Shaggy in his Ultra Instinct form. So lots of fun to be had in this free-to-play, cross-platform action platformer. So, or not action platformer, platform brawler. I still don't know what genre Smash Bros falls into, but yeah, like a fighting game platformer. Anyway, I think it's a really cool idea. It's something I've been very excited about. We also had a little bit of leaks, I think, over the last 2 weeks, but finally glad to see that it is out there in the universe, and maybe we'll get more details at the Game Awards later this year. Speaking of the Game Awards is coming up in just about 3 weeks now, and the nominations are now live. So there's some big winners already, with Deathloop getting 9 nominations, including Game of the Year. Ratchet & Clank has 6, including Game of the Year, and It Takes Two has 5, including Game of the Year. So kind of getting a sense of what the what the game of the year contenders will be, what games people are excited about. I'm also very excited for the kind of releases. I think they said somewhere between 40 and 50 games will be announced or talked about. So I'm looking forward to getting more details. We haven't heard from Dragon Age, whatever the next Dragon Age game, in quite some time. Mass Effect was at the last one. Maybe it'll be at this one, the Evil Dead game. So lots of games and content to be excited for. Also, rounding out the game of the years, besides Deathloop, Ratchet and Clank, and It Takes Two, is Psychonauts 2, Resident Evil Village, and Metroid Dread. So, I think that's a pretty good group of games. I think that kind of represents a lot of the really good games, the games that I know and love that came out this year. So, looking forward to seeing who wins the whole thing. Also got a little bit of on the social medias, pushed back a little bit on Cyberpunk's 2 nominations, including Best RPG. The only thoughts I have on that are technically it came out last year, so after the Game Awards, but came out last year. So I'm glad that it's at least in there. And B, I think it is a very good game, regardless of all the bugs and the bad way that it launched. I still think it was an overall pretty good game. So I'm glad that it at least got some nominations in the Game Awards, but I don't quite understand the pushback. Excited that Cyberpunk got 2 nominations because I really had a fun time playing that as well. Technically playing it this year because I played most of it in January, but yeah. Also, every year I do a Game Awards competition, so anybody who's on my email will be able to enter who they think will win in each category, and if you can get more than me, you could win $100. So I'll have all that in my email attachment. Be sure to check that out. Also launching this week, this one isn't a surprise, but we did get more information and it finally launched this week. G4 TV has launched. So most of the content is coming out on Twitch and YouTube, which I talked about 2 weeks ago with their kind of announced plan. But they have slowly been kind of eking out more and more content. We got a week's worth of content planned, so they're still going through, even through this weekend. So be sure to check that out as it's going. I watched the 3-hour launch event, which was really fun. They brought up Attack of the Show. They talked about X-Play. My favorite part was actually kind of the history, remembering back to all the history of Tech TV and when Tech TV merged with G4 and how all of that kind of happened. So pretty cool to reflect back on. Also reminded me that Ninja Warrior was originally a G4 show, and then that got picked up by NBC. So, but yeah, pretty exciting stuff. And I've been a fan my entire life, so I'm glad that it's back up and running and looking forward to seeing what other content comes out. So looking forward to that. On a bit of a downer, the Activision CEO Bobby Kotick has been in a heap of shit this week. It was reported by the Wall Street Journal that he had known about all of the sexual misconduct, including some pretty bad stuff, and that he was also in part partially responsible for trying to cover up some of the information about it. So the Activision Blizzard employees staged a walkout. They've all started signing for his resignation. Yeah, all in all, big heap of shit, and Activision Blizzard's got a lot of stuff that they're dealing with right now. So I'm not expecting games anytime soon, and I hope this gets dealt with pretty swiftly, and that the people behind it are brought to justice. Moving right along, and also slightly sad news, Saints Row was too good to be true. The fact that we didn't see any, that it surprised announced like a couple months ago and said that it was going to come out in February. I thought that was a pretty short window of time. Although we did get to see some alpha gameplay, which looked pretty promising, but Saints Row, the new one, has been delayed. It is no longer coming out in February of 2020 or 2022. It is now coming out in August of 2022. So I think it's pretty, yeah, I like I said, I think it was somewhat inevitable. I thought it was a pretty bold plan to announce in September, October, whenever they announced, and then say that they're coming out in February, having not seen very much of the game. But you know, COVID is affecting game developers all over, and I assume that this one is also falls into that COVID delays area. So hopefully we get to see Saints Row, but we're just gonna have to wait a couple more months. Facebook is continuing to expand on the world of virtual reality. There was an article this week talking about how they have a haptic feedback glove, which allows you to feel objects within the virtual space. And I think this is probably inevitability. I think this is a little bit of like fiction turned into fact, where we always knew that like virtual kind of signals would eventually be a thing, and Facebook is finally working on it. So insert your favorite sex joke here, because you know that that's probably what what a lot of investors are going to invest in with haptic feedback. And I know that that's probably partially why VR has been as successful as it has been, is a little bit of the adult industry. So not to get too racy here, but you've got to know that a haptic feedback glove is going to be used for all sorts of adult activities. So yeah, should be interesting to see how that develops. Outriders also had a pretty big update this week, pretty big showcase. You remember Outriders, that game from April that you played all throughout April because there was nothing else out to play. So yeah, Outriders is being updated. They've got some pretty big content coming down the pipe, including a transmog system, which any looter shooter should have a transmog system from day one. So I'm surprised it took them this long to implement it. Transmog being a system where you're allowed to keep the gear looking the way you want, but change the stat to whatever your best and latest and greatest gear is. So something that I think people have wanted for quite some time is finally being implemented into the game. So looking forward to seeing more on that. They also have new content, new missions coming out for Outriders, as well as a bunch of bug fixes and quality of life updates. So I don't know if this is maybe a little bit too late. They're too little too late. But if people are looking for some Outriders to be playing, over the winter break, could be a time to jump in and see what the new content is all about. And last but certainly not least, Sifu, the Kung Fu combat game that we've all been kind of keeping in the back of our minds, has done something remarkable in the fact that they are moved up their launch date. So Sifu was originally set to launch February 22nd, 2022, which was a great launch date. Like, anybody who launches on February 22nd, 2022, great launch date. You should keep that launch date. But Sifu has moved 2 weeks up, and now will be launching on February 8th, 2022, probably to avoid the falling between the Horizon Forbidden West launch on February 18th, and before Elden Ring, which also launches, I think, sometime that week as well. So I think it's a pretty good idea for a smaller game like Sifu to move forward to avoid some of those pretty big monstrous launches. So I think it's pretty cool. Also, moving dates up, always a good thing. So I'm a fan of that. Whew, that was it for this week. Thank you for watching. If you feel like I forgot anything down below, mention it down below in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. I don't know if I'll have one of these next week, considering next Friday is Black Friday and people are usually busy. So I usually take Black Friday off, but maybe I'll have a small recap on Wednesday of next week or something like that. So also, I owe you the Game Awards nomination sheet, so I'll have to send that out too. So potentially see this next week. If not, see you the week after that. And as always, have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend, and I hope you have a super day. Bye!